I work for the Environmental Protection Division in the outreach unit. I'm the manager there. And I got my contact information here. I think Gwyneth is going to send it out to everybody. And these are all the programs that I represent and that I've worked with over the years. I started with EPD in '98 as the Adopt a Stream State Coordinator and moved on to the managerial position back there in 2004. Our programs just kept growing, and they created a separate unit, and I was fortunate enough to be selected as a manager. And so we have 4 primary programs. That's such a fortunate manager. We have Bonnie Putney here, who's a board member with Rivers Alive, the chair of Rivers Alive, and here to represent one of our outstanding programs. And we have William Tejan Happ, who is a former board member of Adopt a Stream and a long time trainer of Adopt a Stream, here to represent Adopt a Stream. So that simplifies everything that I have to do. I don't even have to talk about those programs. We have a couple other really good programs, which some people have mentioned. Georgia Project WET, that's an acronym, Water Education for Teachers. It's a national, internationally acclaimed water quality curriculum that we promote here in the state of Georgia. And that's how we get the word out about water and water quality and quantity issues to the K-12 audience. So if you want to get involved with that program, get in touch with us. And they also have their sister program, River of Words. And it's a poetry and art contest that tries to encourage the K-12 audience, again, to express their feelings in poetry and art about watersheds and water and water quality issues here in the state of Georgia. We have some fantastic programs. One of the best public web programs in the nation, one of the best River of Words programs in the nation, too. They have a national award ceremony, and we have finalists who get flown to D.C. every year to represent the program. And you've heard about River of Laws and Georgia Project WET. The reason I'm here today, I guess, is because I kind of opened my mouth and said I thought I might be able to help somehow with some river trails and blue trails. I don't really have any direct involvement in blue trails. I love paddling. Paddle a lot of rivers here in the state of Georgia, paddling in coastal waterways and other rivers and bodies of waters across the U.S. and overseas. But I'm kind of tangentially connected to the blue trails. And it's a little bit of a stretch for us because I work for the regulatory agency, but I'm in outreach in the regulatory agency. And as everybody's made a really good case for today, is that to get involved in streams, the best thing you can do is just get out there and enjoy our waterways. There's some amazing water resources here in the state of Georgia. And so I feel like if there's anything we can do to help get people out there, then that's a really, really important thing for us to do. I think there was just one other Blue Trails Symposium, or there was the one in Alcovey, in Georgia Wildlife Federation.
We had 3 more.
Oh, we had 3 more.
Okay.
I guess maybe that was the first one I went to, and I was there and really enjoyed all the presentations. And there's a guy by the name of Sonny Emmerich who got up, and he's from Coastal Resources Division, and he put together a pretty comprehensive map of all the coastal trails and all the trails to the intercoastal waterway. And it was a really nice PDF that they had available for folks that had some information about the coastal trails. And I remember sitting there thinking, well, that's a pretty cool little map. But there might be something more that we can do with that. Maybe we can make that into a little bit more of a dynamic map. And about that time, through Adopt a Stream, we initiated and launched our online water quality database for volunteer monitoring. And it's a dynamic, database-driven website for our volunteers for entering and displaying and showcasing all the water quality data that our volunteers gathered throughout the state of Georgia. And that program has been such a success that we've seen a 2-3-fold increase in participation in Georgia Adopt a Stream since we launched our database in 2008. And that's because people want to see their data. They can enter data this afternoon, it gets read in the evening, and later on tonight they can log in and they'll see their data on our website, graphed in charts, graphed through using basic GIS, so visually graphed, and they can analyze it, and they can analyze it over time, as Pat talked about, or they can just look at specific points to see what might be going on. So we kind of had this platform for how to display information. And the programmer that we have, who's doing all the work behind the scenes, he's kind of a Google, I guess, fanatic. He loves when Google displays everything, and I'm right there with him on that. I just think they have a really nice, really simple, intuitive way of displaying information. And so we said, hey, I talked to Sonny on the couch and I said, can you send me your layers? And we went back and forth for a while. We're not really GIS folks. So my programmer doesn't have our GIS, I don't either. Kind of dabbled in it. But as long as we could get just the basic information and the locational information, or what's called a KML or a KMZ file, these are files that can be displayed on Google Earth or Google Maps. As long as we can get that information, then we can show the data on the streams. So this is what we came up with, and we've been working on it kind of frantically this week. We didn't quite get the right projection from our coastal folks, which means things are a little bit skewed, but we finally got it all right this week. And you can't see too much here, but can you see that?
I saw it for a second.
What's that? You can't?
I saw it first. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So these are the trails. And unfortunately, like everything in our database, you want to be right in front of a computer to see it. He gave us all the routes, and so we displayed it all along here. And then he gave us specific site information. Primary take out and put in places. And then Sonny went out and took photographs of all the takeouts and put in places over here. And so this is just a general Google map, which we've all seen. The only difference is that now all these vector files are hot linked. And so we've got them all color-coded on here. There's a color-coded legend right here. These are all hot linked too. It's got all the route distances right there. So for each little segment, it's 10 miles, 1 mile, or whatnot. And then we got everything in an Excel file right here. So you want to paddle that section of the river, you can just click on that Excel file. It'll pop up all the lat long chords right there. So you can pop that into your GPS if you're going to go out there and paddle. If you scroll over all these, if you click on one of the routes, it'll zoom in like this. This is along Cumberland. That's Cumberland Island right there. So it'll zoom in and just display that route. If you scroll over any of these, then it'll pop up a little window right here. And this will give you all the information safer right there. That's the primary site for the National Park Service for entering Cumberland Island. So it's got all your kind of metadata right there, camping facilities. It includes phone number right there. You call the National Park Service to get the approval to get on the island. I think I forgot to take out my special blank screen. And then you can click on an actual site. And that's just a zoom in on the ortho view for Google Maps. It's a photographic layer right there. So you can get a visual of the put-in place there at St. Mary on the coast. And then Sonny also provided photographs. So he provided photographs for the site. So you get kind of two visuals for where you'd be putting in and taking out, which is kind of important. I mean, how many times have you been paddling where you think, well, I think I know what this place where we're taking out looks like, but once you're out there on the river, I've talked to more than a few people who have actually passed by the takeout place while paddling on a river. Or say if you were going to Brick Hill Bluff, if you're going to Cumberland, there is no dock, there's no sign or anything there. So just having a basic visual would be helpful. And then again, there's all the information over there on the side, in the upper right, on the actual site. And then the advantage of using Google Maps, as we see it, is that you can make it a completely dynamic interface for displaying information. So you can display more information than what, say, the Blue Trails organization provided for us. In this case, the folks on the coast provided us route information, site information. But then what we have up here, we have a listing of restaurants, hotels, temperature on there. So you can activate those sites, and then it'll display restaurants that are on there or hotels that are on there. So the idea being that if you wanted to plan your whole trip for a 3-day paddling trip or something like that, then you could go to this one site and you can extract that information. This is the Riverview Hotel in St. Mary. Has anybody ever stayed there?
Yeah.
You know Cindy well?
It's been a while. Even the morning.
It's a fantastic experience. You've got to get the opportunity. And you got to go check out the bar, at least for short spots. And we have weather charts on there. And, you know, the idea is that maybe we could add other layers as we continue to develop this. So the key to building this is the information that will be provided to us by folks all across the state of Georgia. It's kind of not too different than our volunteer monitoring program. That's that our information is good as the data that we receive. And so if somebody wanted to participate in this, then we have 2 template forms. We have trail data, or the route data, and that would be the lat-long codes for the routes for each segment of the river, whatever blue trails that you have. And we can provide this template. It's just an Excel file. And so you would have the location, and then you would have different information that you would want to provide with that route, like a distance or something like that. Yep.
Would it be possible, since you all are both state agencies or subsumed under, to have a link on that park ranger app with the Department of Parks and Historic Sites?
I mean, we could link to anything.
Are you aware of that application that you can download to your smartphone? It's from the state parks and historic sites. And it's called Park Ranger, and it will give you a GPS location of any available sites and the amenities necessary. And it seems like it would be a natural link to that.
I'll be honest, I'm not aware of everything that's out there. I know that DNR State Parks has a new layer with all the put-in. Is that what you're talking about? Take out and put-in sites for across the state?
Yeah, but it's within the state parks app for a smartphone. Okay?
Right, I understand. So that maybe they've added something else that's an actual app for state parks that
Perhaps
they
it
could
could be
put on
something
there.
that you could link with this marvelous thing that you're describing. So,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
And this is where you all come into play. I don't know everything that's out there. I've already given my disclaimer that I'm not the Blue Trails guy. I'm just kind of helping out or showing an idea of something that we might be able to do. And the whole premise, none of this is live. Okay, so the whole premise to this is that if this is useful, and again, I think most of this audience, you all are the ones who are involved in Blue Trails. If this is useful, then you can do what our volunteers have done with our volunteer water quality database, and that is participate in the process of building it. When we created our volunteer monitoring database, we went out and we talked to the volunteers and said, here's an idea we have, do you like it? What do you want to see on it? And that's really where I'm coming from today on this. And knowing that I'm limited in my resources, because we do a lot of different things that we explore through our database. But this is not too hard for us to do. If you have links to other sites and stuff like that, that's easy. If you have other layers that you're aware of out there that would make this a richer experience, that is so easy for us to display that. You just provide that information for us. If you can gather, and whoever it is who's involved with this, if you can gather some of this information for us, it's a piece of cake for us to get it displayed on here. Like this afternoon we could do. I think there was a talk earlier today on the Etowah trails. Did they showcase? I got here a little bit later. They showcased? Okay. And I looked at that, and I was really impressed with what they did. They use a different platform on there. They use Esri or ArcGIS for that. And the only difference I would say here, or the primary difference I would say here, is the potential is kind of, I won't say limitless, but there's a great deal of potential for different types of information that we can display here by tying into Google and the Google search capability that's on there.
So this interactive watershed map, what is the main website for it? Is it the EPD or is it going to be a fifth option on the Rivers Live that page? Where are we going to find this? Where are you guys going?
We're in the process of determining that because it's kind of a partnership with GRN and National Park Service is really interested. Everybody kind of comes in from their different perspective. National Park Service would like to see it throughout the whole entire southeast. We have a Georgia mandate, so we're just going to focus primarily on Georgia. GRN, of course, is a big advocate for getting folks out there. So it could be a combination.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be a combination. Right now, like I said, it's not live. Right now, it's just we're kind of in the beta stage of formulating these ideas. Is there another?
I was just saying, Brown's Guide to Georgia started something like that a while back.
What's that?
Brown's Guide to Georgia, used to
Okay.
be that magazine that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He's online now, and he's asked a whole lot of people, and we've done it ourselves. You go down a river with your GPS and you click, and you take pictures, and you give it to him. So you go to his site and you go to whatever river. It's not as well organized as that, but the idea was pretty sound. So there's a lot of information out there on random river stretches, and not necessarily a river trail.
Right. Right. And I don't doubt that, and that's where you all can help out in tapping into those resources. And if we could serve as a clearinghouse or something like that, there are obviously a lot of advantages for having all this information on one site.
Yeah.
The Etowah one is fantastic, but people may not know about that one or may not know about one right next to it. And if you can consolidate efforts, if people think, I'm not trying to create more work, but
Well, I think it's
or
great.
redundancy, but if it looks like a valuable tool, then we could literally have your information displayed on here within 24, 48 hours if you get it to us in the correct format.
So what is the format that if somebody like our water trail?
Well, let me, because there's a couple things that I just wanted to bring up too. Just because I'm going to be talking about our clearinghouse too with Georgia River Network, and one thing that we really want to do is have kind of the Georgia River Network continue as a water trails clearinghouse and have a central platform along with the EPD on their website to present this information. And so it's really important to us to be able to help in the gathering of the information, make sure it's double checked, that it's, all the I's are dotted, the T's are Q'd. Did I say that, dyslexia? Yeah. So, but anyway, before it goes live, and I don't know if you're going to show the other slide, but I actually had 2 interns that came and worked on the Alcohol River Canoe Trail, and we together collected this tremendous amount of data using the spreadsheets that the GIS guru needed. And there's a lot of information. It's easy to get it wrong, if you will. And so I just want to make sure that you guys, it's awesome. It's amazing how quick the turnaround, and you just put your numbers in, it's like, voila, there's your awesome map. And there's, a tremendous opportunity for people to have all of their resources on one site that anybody and everybody knows they can go to, and they can find all the information about water trails throughout the state. So I just wanted to kind of sum that up.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't figured out the details of how this is going to be displayed or where, maybe a couple of different sites. Obviously, from our perspective, we also have all that water quality data, so we have a lot of layers embedded already where we can put, actual stream health information right there on top of your paddling experience. So you can see what the E. coli levels have been on that stretch of river, and you can see, well, maybe when it's raining, I don't want to get out there, how to collect data, there's a lot of different ways to do it. I just did a quick search this morning, and there's tons of different types of mapping software out there. Some of it is free. In general, it doesn't take a lot of ingenuity to do it. You can use a GPS unit. If you're actually paddling, you could get routes connected there. There is going to be a little bit of manipulation if you want to get all the routes to connect up just right. I've just created a little template like that, just using, actually on Google Earth, you can get in there and you can actually put in a track on there. And that's a pretty darn good resource there because you overlay the photograph on there, and if the water's there, there's a good indication the water's there. Because in a lot of these other blue trails, the river maybe has changed course, especially in South Georgia, where you have oxbow lakes that have been created, or you have natural sinuosity that occurs, and you'll be actually on land. I've been where I'm paddling and tracking my route when I display it later, and wow, we just went across all this land before. But anyway, there are a lot of different methods that you can gather that information, and it's going to require some ground truthing too. Sonny had to go back out on the coast. He spent this summer with a couple of interns, and he actually went to each side and made sure, and then took a lot of the pictures. All those pictures that I had on those are all hot link too. So you could click a picture and it would take you right to that site. He had to gather, in often cases, he had to take a lot of those photographs that we included on there. And then, like the Etowah one was pretty neat because they had rapids and different points of interest along there, or fish weirs. The sky's the limit as far as what you want to put on there. And you can put whatever descriptor you want as long as we have the locational information. And it's, like I said, it's incredibly easy for us to display it on this. It's kind of come up in the process of doing this. This is really different from creating a static PDF map. It's like, oh, this is my map or something like that. This is really your map. If you give us the information, it's as good as the data you create, because all we're doing is using a platform that's free and open software, open non-proprietary software. And so that's how we're displaying it. So here's the Altamaha River Trail that Gwyneth mentioned. And the difference here is that it's one entire route, it's one entire reach. So you need to decide, if you're creating this, am I going to have segments that I found, these are the best little segments for like day trip segments or half day trip segments, and then you split up all the routes into those different segments along there. And then you could have like on the coastal, you couldn't really see it, I think, from there, but the coastal had a whole bunch of different color-coded trails on there. And that's what you could do here. And then you have different locations. I guess these are taken and put in places, all the dots on there. And then you can see here that if...
What did you do on the coastal with different colors?
Yeah, I'm sorry that you can't see it very well on here, but each route is a different color code.
You mean between
the take in and put in place, or put in and take out place, and each one of those, it's hot length, and and it has the distance displayed on there. So if you're setting up, if you're planning your canoe trip, your paddling trip, then you know exactly what you're getting into. There's a 19-mile stretch here, we've got a 6-mile stretch the next day, and then we can tell you another 5-mile stretch or something like that. So that's the beauty of it. It's so easy to display all that information here so that you can really start to plan, I just want to do a half-day trip or something like that, or I want to do a full-day trip. And that's where the advantage is if you just chop this up into little segments. And that's really going to be the work of whoever provides that information to us.
There's one thing paddling around the coast that's on the river, you never have the problem. The river always goes one direction. But on the coast, there's coastal trails.
Yeah.
You say point A to point B, and you make the trip. If the tide's wrong, you're going against the current.
Right.
So
And our goal is to have all the tidal charts on there too. And so that you could click on each side. Because it changes whether you're at Crooked River, putting in Crooked River or St. Mary's. Could be an hour difference, because I paddled some of those routes too. So it's absolutely critical that you have tidal information on there. We did have like the weather on there, so you could see the weather. That's nice. A lot of people have that. But the tidal influence is really going to be absolutely critical for doing that. And it would be easy enough for us to just, there are a lot of online tide charts, that I've seen, and that would be easy connection for us. But ideally, we want it as a layer on it, so that you can see.
Well, the real problem, I shouldn't maybe do it right into this, but I've done a lot of paddling around the Darien area, and you have up to a 9-foot tide, so the tides are really serious. And if we're paddling from one access point to the next access point, the tides are going in and out, and the creeks are coming, so you're actually paddling with the tide, and then yet the tide's still going up, and it's coming in from the other direction. And there's no set lines on this, and it's really tricky to do that.
So talk to this gentleman if you're going to paddle on the coast.
Yeah.
He's got all the insider information. But as you can see, when you're developing the map, especially in South Georgia, where you have extreme sinuosity on these two streams, that how good you can get at actually following the river trail. It would take a lot more work to do that. But that's going to provide the information that folks are using, and you cut off a few segments like that, and then it may not be an accurate reading of the distance of the route too. So there's going to be a lot of ground truthing and a lot of real close manipulation of data for it to be a really useful tool for folks. So, I don't know, I just kind of threw this together. I was thinking, oh, you guys can make this up and add to it a lot, but, you know, I have a statewide mandate, so our interest is in a statewide display with focuses on different regions, water bodies, watersheds all across the state. And, you know, Adam already talked about adding more layers out there, you know, canoe outfitters, things like that. And, you know, the sky's the limit on what you can think of on that one. And again, it's really about the participants in the program and the type of information that you all can provide for us. I think that's it. So.
Thank you.